Ladies and gentlemen, join us again. The second round. We're in mid-Ohio. We're in America. This is the second round of the DTM 2016 Series League at RWB International. Last week we were at crikey, where we was at Nürburgring, weren't we? This week we're at mid-Ohio. Tonight I've got someone joining me tonight. I've got Beanster joining me. How are you, Beanster? All right?
Yeah, very good. Looking forward to this. Can't think of anything better to do on a Friday night than watch the racing.
Apart from an early night with the missus and maybe 3 or 4 beers.
Now,
look,
yeah.
I've got to give you a heads up. I get a little bit excited. I love watching the sim racing. I love watching our RWB brethren out there. And I love seeing the racing. I get a little bit excited. Sometimes the odd swear word might slip out. And usually I don't sleep for about 4 days after commentating. So, every now and then I have to pinch myself. So I do apologise. I just get a little bit enthusiastic, but hopefully that adds value to the great racing that you're going to see tonight. Now, before we ask Beanster to talk to us a little bit about himself and, his background, sim racing, and perhaps going forward with RWB in commentary, let me remind you where we are. We're at Mid-Ohio in America. This is near Lexington, central North Ohio, just north of Columbus, actually. This particular track is the full circuit without the chicane, 2.25 miles, 3.62 kilometres. It's got 6 different layouts, of which we're using the full layout, which is without the chicane. This is actually known as the Mid-Ohio Sports Car Course. It's got 15 corners, and as is ever with tracks that I hate that just name corners T1, T2, well, I'm afraid this is the same. It's just got 15 corners or 15 areas known as T1 to T15. But saying that, the Americans have named 5 named areas, and we will get to have a look at those after our quick brief here as we have a quick zip around the track. Now, this is a very interesting track. It's a challenging track. It's got a series of twisting and plunging corners, fast kinked back straight, which any of you who have been on here will know and be all too familiar with. There's carousel type parabolicas. There's elevation changes. There's even apexes on crests where the car becomes specifically, very, very light. It's not for the faint of heart, this track, but it will reward you enormously, especially in the sim racing world, if you like, when and if you master it. It's a really, really, really good track. 5 named areas. I'll name them as we join someone and as we go around. Great track. Only been actually going since about 1962. Lots of different variations. And when it was first built by a guy called, where's my notes here? A guy called Leon Griebler. He actually said he wanted the most famous track in America, the best track in America. And one of the tracks that started off, i.e. this track, when it started off, the small player in the American motorsports world, if you like, actually today has become one of the most respected and most well-known in North America. Lots of different series have gone on at Mid-Ohio. Everything from Can-Am to the F5000, the old F5000, karts, Indy cars, remember the kart series, NASCAR, AMA, Pro Racing, Honda Indy 200 event goes around here. Look, if you haven't heard of Mid-Ohio and you're an American and you're into your motorsport, you need to take a look at yourself. You take yourself off outside, find a hammer and do something with it. And I'm not talking about banging a nail into a bit of wood. This is a very famous track in real life, and in the sim racing world, much respected. Now, that's that before we have a quick zip around the track, and we'll do that with, say, 3 minutes or so left. So, Beanster, you're joining us tonight for a trial commentating with us. What's your sim racing background? What is it that you like to do?
Well, I would say I'm a bit of a newbie, honestly speaking, in comparison to most people. I guess I've been sim racing for about 3 or so years. I started with Project Cars, he says through a cough. Great, got me into it. I got some rigs, got some rigs set up. I started to get a bit more interested in it, and started to invest more heavily. And those of you who have been into sim racing for a while knows that you have to have very deep pockets to keep on top of this. Recently, Race Room, just love Race Room, and an ACC, of course, which is seemingly on the ascendancy, if you ask me. tracking Automobilista 2, love it as well. Not really done it seriously, so joining RWB, I guess 2 months ago, and doing a little bit of endurance racing, I realised that I just love the whole racing with people and the community spirit you've got in the club, and hence me offering to give you some co-commentary.
Wonderful. Well, it's really great to have you in the booth. Sorry about the mess around here. Bloody Charger and the rest of the admins have not done this place any credit for years. Now, look, we're currently in with Rick Binnersley. So let's use Rick tonight as a track around as a quick zip around Mid-Ohio along the main straights here. A little bit of a kink. Here's the kink to the left here. Now we're coming up to the first 90-degree right-hander, which is... oh no, beg your pardon. Yeah, this is T1, of course it is. Into T1, this very tight right-hander here, which then extends down the hill, past this little kink. And we're coming down now towards the S's section. This is the, actually, this section is used for the rolling start, actually. So we go through T4, bit of a right-hander, through the S's now, up on top of the crest there where the apex is for T5, down into T6, through the S's again, under the Honda bridge, apex and on a crest, and we're now into what they term as Thunder Valley. Just on the corner here used to be an oak tree. They used to call it Oak Tree Bend, and plenty of cars used to hit that tree, sadly, and quite a few people injured. Round one of the carousels, and then back along the start-finish straight. So that was called the carousel that we've just gone through here, and Rick stops. Perfect. Yeah, so there you go. It looks very easy, but the key thing that catches a lot of people out around Mid-Ohio are those apexes on the crest. Now, these are V8 cars, 1,200 kilos simulated, space frame monsters, no traction control. And, if you go off track here, just like Vizar has done there, or if you apply too much throttle on any of these apexes that are on these crests, you're a goner. So this track is all about not just track knowledge and the ability to drive this type of car around here, but certainly a little bit more than just your average track knowledge. In order for you to go around here for an hour, which is what we're going to be looking at these guys in a minute, you really do need to know this track fairly well. Put your foot down a little bit too hard around here in this sort of car and you're off. And trying to get this car back on track again can be an absolute nightmare. Great, 1 minute and 39 seconds left, and there's a good example, just coming over the crest there. Car gets light, a little bit too much throttle, bang, the rear end comes around. So 1 minute and 30 left. Now let's remind ourselves, this is a 1 hour race. At the end, okay, look out for racer of the event, any one of the People's Champion, we're going to call it, for this particular race. And you in YouTube, and Beanster and I will decide who that is. And at the very end, we'll have a quick 2-minute chat with them in the commentary room, and Beanster will interview them at the end there. And throughout this race, I'll be coming to Beanster for all sorts of things, his view and his experience on certain things, and perhaps he'll be able to add some added value as well, rather than the non-stop continuum drivel that I end up giving you. Of course, if you've got any questions in YouTube, then chuck it in the YouTube chat, whether there's one of you or 100 of you. We're not really worried about that. We're not after viewers. We're not trying to raise our profile on YouTube. We do this for RWB members first, the community wider. We're growing exponentially, which is great news for RWB, but it's not a main effort of ours. We're not going to ask you to like and subscribe. You do that if you want to, and you know about the bell from all the millions of other YouTube videos you watch. Right, here we go then. So Martin Peterman from Zero Force Racing, he qualifies in first position with our very own CSAM. Watch out for CSAM, he's no flout, and if you get CSAM on your butt, he doesn't let go. So even Martin Peterman will be very wary of the Frenchman trying to get his own back. Third place, Brazilian Pedro Migueles. Welcome, Pedro. Jorgen Warby, JW in P4. P5, Dirk Gretschel, also from Zero Force Racing. Vizar Gicoli, also, again, a very, very fast racer. And then you saw the rest of the rundown there. Cool. 2 minutes and 53 seconds left to go. Beanster, to you, what are you looking for in this race? Your first race that you're commentating on, but what are you looking for in particular?
I think what you mentioned earlier, it's just a fascinating course because you've got so many off cambers and it is really hard. You're loading up the outside wheels on a lot of these turns. You're at full maximum grip loading, and then you're at the back of somebody else. You get a little bit too excited with the pedal, and with these cars with zero traction control, you're looking at him in his windscreen before you even know it. So I'm hoping that, given the quality of the races in the club, we're going to see some really good close racing, but it's extremely difficult to keep the track together. I'm also looking at last week's results or previous results to see where some of our previous high finishers are packed up here. I see a mixture of people. Wolby obviously, and Peterman in the group there, as long with the other team. So yeah, looking forward to seeing how the progress is from last week.
Yeah, absolutely right. The Peterman, Wolby, watch out for them. Dirk Gretschel, watch out for him. Vizar, watch out for him. CSAM, watch out for him. And there's 25 of them out there tonight. And don't be put off. Don't be put off. It's a general quote. Don't be put off by seeing these really fast fellas. And with every, it only takes 2 cars to race. Okay, so even if you're at the back in any of these races, you're always going to have a race. Don't be put off by entering leagues or events or anything else because you're not as fast as the fastest person. The fact of the matter with racing is there is always a linear curve of the fastest and the not so fast in every single one of them, from F1 to sim racing. So don't let fast people put you off. Get in there. You've got to be in it to be in it. Simple as that.
Yep, racing's happening all through the whole of the circuit all the time.
And we'll do our best, Beanster and I, to be able to bring that to you and to capture the whole field. Probably one of the very few clubs, actually, for the members' awareness and for the wider community. We're one of the very few clubs that tries to ensure that everybody gets a good bit of coverage. Because, of course, our intent is to do this for our members and for our visitors at our events, and to encourage other people to come along and be part of the community. So we want our streams to be covering of as much as we possibly can throughout the field. And last week is testament to the absolutely fantastic racing that we were seeing all the way through the field, not just at the front, which, I'll be honest with you, was quite boring. Martin was in a world of his own out there, and second and third and fourth had a few tassels throughout the race, but essentially you get to the middle pack and even at the back there's some fantastic racing going on, and it will be the same tonight and we will capture it for you. Excellent. Yeah, good point, Aldi. He mentions RWE pride itself on accommodating all levels, and that's absolutely right. If you come along to us and you're as fast as our fastest, then great. We'll give you the opportunities to capitalise, exploit that and show that off. But likewise, if this is you're brand new to sim racing, or you've only been in a couple of sims and not these sims, and you're thinking about, well, what's it like with a bigger club, then come along and find out. And we'll talk more to you about that towards the end of the race, as we're now in the 38-second phase of the garage phase, if you like, the last minute to have a quick breather before they get onto the track. And then we'll be into the last throws before they launch themselves. And there we are. We're looking down now the main straight there, if you can call it that, because it's a bit of a kink outside of the carousel. We're just looking at that back AMG there. You can see is out at the back of the straight. Actually, the back straight is longer than the main straight. The main straight is only very short with a left entry and actually a left-hand exit. All right, well, let's pop the camera onto RWB Marco, who's currently in 10th place, and they're off. And looking at the front, you can see Martin Peterman in the black BMW on the left-hand side coming into T1, and they're all around. And I think there's a little bit of a... No, I think they're all round. That's good. Looking up at the front then, let's look on the back of the wing of Martin Peterman, looking back there to RWB CSAM. Behind him, Pedro Migueles has certainly moved up a couple of places. Jorgen Warby, Dirk Gritchel, Vizar, and there's red flashing everywhere in the race director, as these guys really are fairly close in this first lap, coming streaming down the back straight down towards T4 and into the S's. And we can see Martin Peterman already. Wow. He's out there again, isn't he? He's in a place in his own already. making everyone else work hard as these guys go into the S's. And as we see, Martin Peterman almost lost traction on that apex, on that crest. One of three around here. Here's another one. And if you get it wrong, you know, you're going to become a cropper. Look at CSAM, Beanster. CSAM is the master of hanging off of the back of somebody else.
That's absolutely fabulous. He's really got the go for him, hasn't he? You can see he's got underneath him there. But what a clean first corner. Just fabulous to see so many cars keeping their distance, keeping it clean through T1. That's not easy.
No, not at all. Absolutely well said. Coming towards the end of the first lap as Martin Peterman and CSAM come out the exit of the carousel and along to the main straight, of which actually isn't because of a left-hander in and a left-hander out. But Martin Peterman, that first lap that he's just done there, a 1:23.313, significantly. I mean, that's super fast around here. So, you know, fair play. On the fuel side of things, I think these guys are almost full on here. They'll have one pit stop. And they will have to change their tyres. I don't think there's anything to say that they can't take on fuel, but ultimately, you know, they've got to do a pit stop at some point. When do you think they'll be doing that? What sort of strategy do you think they'll be doing, Beanstar?
Yeah, it depends, doesn't it? Some people like to go long for the first stint. I think in general, you want to be sprinting at the start so that you don't get caught up in the backpack when you do a pit stage. You don't want to be returning to a big old backpack, you know, when you leave the pit. So it fluctuates depending on whether you feel like you're up for it at the start of the race. But I mean, CSAM's right here. I mean, this may be that feeling, you know, given how much of a gap that Peterman had last week, he may be thinking this is his best and only chance to keep done with him.
Yeah, absolutely. With CSAM now, actually, you can see CSAM all over Martin Peterman. Oh, and there's we almost commentator curse CSAM as he just gets his. He's sitting in his rig now, like mon Dieu, as he gets out of shape. But you know, you need more than that just to throw CSAM off. Let's have a quick flick through down the field here. So we've currently got Martin Peterman in first place, second place CSAM, looking on the back of CSAM back there already. A bit of a gap there. We're looking back to Pedro Migueles. With Pedro Migueles, and you've got Jorgen Warby behind him in cockpit with Dirk Gretschel. We can see Jorgen Warby in front there. Dirk Gretschel currently in fifth place. Vizar, watch out for him. He's a supremely quick Vizar, just like a lot of these guys are. And I'm willing to bet that he will climb some places. But the higher up you are after qualifying, the more difficult that is, simply because you've got the more quicker guys that you've got to get around. And this track, though, can throw a wobbler. You can throw a wobbler around here, and you've only got to come off once, and that's it. You will lose a significant amount of places. Yeah,
great point by Audi in the stream here. Some of the most amazing racing is in the mid to front pack. You know, it's in that middle pack where you've got people who are so close to each other in terms of their average lap times. Small mistakes go a long way in that mid pack. So it's great that you get such a different amount of racing all the way up the circuit.
Yeah, absolutely. And again, you know, we mentioned that earlier on that. You know, some fantastic racing throughout the whole of the field, and it's a great sight to see them all through there. But you know, I have to agree with that. The majority of the close, really thrilling racing in sim racing is in the sort of middle pack. The majority of the really talented racing when they're fighting for position, really talented. Oh, as we just see, helmet there, all it takes, no traction control whatsoever. And now look how many places he's lost. That's 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. And someone else crashes into him. Who was that? I think that was crikey, I don't know who that was. Get me a ambulance quickly.
It looks like Helmut's put a toe off as he's exited the corner there and kept the gas in, and it's just rotated on the spot.
Yeah, thank you for being the calm in the storm, Beanster. You're absolutely right. That's all it takes. Again, very easy to get it out. You know, Helmut, you're making me nervous, old friend. You know, just can't. You know, Helmut is very quick. You know, certainly in the sort of top quadrant, RWB, I'd say. And now I know that he will be pushing hard now to climb some places. See the orange RS5 on the left there. Not sure who that is. Who then loses traction and goes off. We'll come back to them as we zip through. Let's go back through the field. Remind ourselves. Was it Beans? Yeah. Okay, Martin Peterman still at the front there. These three there. CSAM behind him. Pedro Migueles challenging on the inside at T2, but no, through the keyhole as they call it. and now they're on the back straight, which is also the rolling start line. These three now already starting to pull away from the rest of the track. Looking back from Pedro Miguelis, you can see there, you know, how big's that gap there. You can see, what's that? That's a good 3.5 seconds or so to Dirk Gretschel. So these three already are starting to pull away, Beanster.
Yeah, it's interesting. They seem to be pacing each other. It's not normally the case. If you're racing toe to toe at the front there, you're not always going as quickly as you could be. So it's interesting to see that they're still gapping the rest of the pack, even though they're really putting each other under pressure. Yeah.
With Jorgen Warby now in cockpit, looking towards Rick Binnersley. Rick Binnersley himself also challenging. Oh, Rick goes off and hits the wall. Rick, I'm so sorry, old chap. It was definitely my fault. As Jorgen Warby now moves up into what is essentially 6th place, now challenging Vizar. But what happened to Rick? Well, there's Rick there. He's rejoined in 7th place. I think he actually came off all right. He didn't lose that many places.
Yeah, it's interesting. This is where the adrenaline, heart's pumping a little bit. You're starting to settle into the race, maybe 2 or 3, 4 laps. The heart rate's coming down, but there's still a lot of pressure as you go wheel to wheel, and maybe just a little bit of judgment issues happening when you get in the real race situation. But it's all just about rhythm, just getting back into the rhythm, keeping calm, keeping focused on your race and not everybody else's. And sometimes that's really hard to achieve.
Absolutely. Now, a very good point as a reminder for everyone. I'm not sure who it was that said in there about the DRS, but yeah, don't forget, of course, these guys have got DRS. What does that mean? Well, I'll tell you what it means. That little wing on the back there flips on a set of hydraulics there, and it shallows the angle of attack of the wing, which actually increases the top speed. Of course, the downside is that there's less traction. Now, these cars haven't got any traction. The only traction that's provided is by that wing and the engine in the front of the car. And the weight of it, that's pretty much it. Now, you've got some flares and you've got some spoilers on the front, etc., and that helps as well, but the majority of traction comes from that rear wing. And when DRS is on, you really want it on a straight piece of track, because it's very easy to come off. But if you're within 1 second of a car in front of you and you cross the line, you'll then get DRS activated that you can use 3 times throughout the track. Now, some series have certain specific areas where you're able to activate DRS, Formula 1 and so forth, and some other series allow you to do that in certain places. In the sim world, I think for this particular event, round 2 of 4-round event, I think you can pretty much activate it anywhere.
It's just interesting to see Holman's in there just actually rail riding one of the curbs for some distance. It's interesting how clever the sim is that it's able to model a beached car with a chassis just rolling on top of the curb. Yeah,
absolutely. And an actual fact, I don't think there's a better car in all of the different car classes. I don't think there's a better car that models the beached and the sort of loss of the downforce underneath, the suction, the diffused suction underneath the car that's caused by the diffuser at the rear and the front canards. I don't think there's a better car that simulates loss of traction, loss of downforce better than DTM series. You go over any of the bends, any of the candy canes, go over any of the rumble strips, and you'll lose that suction caused by those diffuser and the canards. Well, I almost got very technical then. I think that's about as technical as I'm going to get for tonight.
I was expecting some diagrams to come out.
Any more technical than that. Let's get back to the racing. Currently watching Jorgen Warby chasing down Vizar. In cockpit with Jorgen Warby, you can see that he's got DRS. Now, there is such a phenomena, if you like, although it's not a phenomena because it's not difficult to understand, but and that is a DRS war. You can get cars like this where they've got space behind them, space in front of them, and what you can end up having is a DRS war with the car in the rear, in this case Jorgen Warby. All he has to do is stay within 1 second of Vizar and he'll get DRS as he crosses the line, which enables him to have a speed advantage and on certain places of the track overtake Vizar. Vizar then just simply swaps place with Jorgen, and the time differential, making a move there, but the time differential from Vizar to 5th place is not significant enough that actually that they can break away from each other, and they almost get stuck in this sort of this whirlpool of DRS battles backwards and forwards.
Yeah, conversely, sometimes you might find yourself with a fast driver and you're effectively catapulting each other through the circuit. If you can improve your lap times, then you can come up with a gentleman's agreement to tow each other around the circuit. As long as you're not stuffing it up and diving into the inside of the corner, it can be beneficial, but it's a mutual arrangement that you have no chance to agree on.
Yeah, sort of you're hoping you're all on the delta wave and that you're both understanding what it is that you're trying to achieve. But yeah, absolutely. These two, fantastic racers. CSAM does a lot of racing with us, also does a fair bit with RF2. If RF2 is your thing and you want to get into RF2, you're probably wise to come along to RWB and sort of seek out CSAM and ask him for some advice. There's some races that he's involved in, etc. So do reach out to him if RF2 is your thing. I know he's a big fan of RF2.
I can't help but thinking that CSAM is just sitting tight here. He's just keeping himself in the rearview mirror of Peterman, just applying the pressure gently and not making any drastic moves. It feels to me like he's tracking him. He's comfortably in that space.
I think you're probably right. Yeah, I think earlier on when we saw him and he went through, I mean they're coming up to the keyhole now. When we saw him going into the keyhole, the entry speed for CSAM into the keyhole was more. There we go, and he just seems to claw so much space from Martin, and of course he goes quite wide on the keyhole in order to have a quicker exit of the keyhole, and he sort of he's got DRS, but Martin Peterman, he's got another engine in it, but we can see, that he's clawing back the time, he's clawing back the space, but again, just not enough. But I think you're perhaps right. I think he's playing kiss chase with him. Excellent. Let's have a quick flick through the field. We started doing it earlier on. Let's start from the rear. Currently, Mr. Judd is retired. Such a shame to see anyone retire. But easy to do in these cars. If you smash the car up in the front there, that's it. Game over. Engine is done. Damage is on. Damage is full. Tyre wear is on, etc. So easy to do. Munching Skull, my favourite young person, my favourite young driver in RWB. I've teamed up with him on a couple of endurance events. Nice guy. He too has also retired. Justin Burley out there in 23rd with Helmet in 22nd. We saw Helmet had that problem earlier on. So he's got some work to do to climb the board. Peter Stefani actually chasing now Jag Dice and jumping in cockpit with him. You can see he's quite close to him and now challenging him coming into the S's. Let's see how Jag Dice deals with this apex on the crest here. Just clips the curb. Peter Stefani in 21st place challenging Jag Dice. Jag Dice trying to keep Stefani at bay. 20th place Mark Bean in the orange Audi RS5 who had a problem earlier on. Very unusual, Beanster, to see Beans in 19th. Again, very quick racer. I think he's just gone to triples, which is like a game changer for a lot of people that are on flat screen. And it's easy to discount that as a not an excuse, but as a reason or rationale for perhaps almost having to relearn the sim.
Yeah, I guess if you've got the natural pace.
Oh, and I think I'm back. Am I back? Am I back? Someone tell me on YouTube if I'm back. I think I am. Let me know in the chat. Let me know in the chat. Let me know in the chat if I'm back. Let me know if the chat if I'm back. Just having a quick rundown here before I wait for my my buddy to join me, Beanstar. But yeah, as I said, let me know in the chat if this is coming through all right. I just see our live bot has just entered the channel as well, so hopefully you're getting this. Yep, we're back. Absolutely fantastic. Thank you, Cripple Potato, Simon Bennett, Beanstar. Come on in. That beautiful voice. Oh, Munching Skull. Bless your heart. Right. Well, we saw some fantastic racing there, didn't we? A bit of a battle between Martin Peterman and C-Sam at first and second place there. C-Sam stayed out for an extra lap and just pipped first place, but not quick enough before Martin Peterman retook his first place again. I think I have to drag my commentator friend in. Where is he? Where is he? Where is he? Oh, crikey, crikey, crikey. Team two. Yeah, come into team two. Beanstalk, come into team two. There we go. Bang, he's in with us. Are you back with me? Are you with me now?
Me.
We're in. We're back, ladies and gents. We've got 9 minutes and 25 seconds left. The show must go on. Let's not worry about what happened there. Technical problem, nothing to do with us. I think it was the Chinese. Right, moving on. So, first place, Martin Peterman is out there. What a battle we saw there, Beanster, with Martin Peterman and C-Sam, but of course with Rick Binnersley and Vizar, Gabsy. Battles right the way throughout the field.
Yeah, all the way through. I mean, just great to see it. I've also been watching it as well and seeing Bean making his way back up and Helmet as well. I think it's been an incredible climb back up the ladder, but the fight between Peterman and C-Sam's been fascinating. It looked like they were tracking each other so closely, and then there was a pit changeover, and it seemed like Martin just took the edge out of it. I think maybe C-Sam pushed really hard on his outlap and lost a little time there, and he doesn't seem to be able to close this gap.
Yeah, absolutely. I think we may have missed something with C-Sam because he's now been between 4.5 and 5 seconds away from Peterman for the past 3 laps. So it only needs a slight sort of, slightly off pace for one of the laps, or maybe just click the curb or whatever for that differential to stay roughly around that sort of time. But not taking anything away from Martin Peterman to say that C-Sam's not clawing it back. I mean, Martin Peterman is an exceptionally fast sim racer, he's currently out in first place, and he deserves every bit of that. C-Sam in second place, Dirk Gretschel in third place, significantly down as well. I mean, 35 seconds. I mean, that tells you everything you need to know. Our third place runner out there, Dirk Gretschel from Zero Force, is 35 seconds away from C-Sam. That's incredible. That means that these two, Peterman and C-Sam, are in essentially a tier of their own out there right now.
Yeah, it's amazing really how much they can gap the rest of it. But if you remember back the first 5 or 6 laps, there was a cluster of 3 at the front there, and they were really holding each other nicely in position, gapping the rest. But it seems like the quality has just come through towards the mid and end of this race.
Yeah, absolutely. I'm going to go back to what I said. I think it was. I'm not sure it was. I think it was Crippled Potato or Audi or someone mentioned something in the YouTube chat there about some of the best battles are in the middle section, and we've seen some great battles out there tonight. Rick Binnersley, Gabsy, Vizar, Koz had a couple of battles there, which I know he would have absolutely loved every single bit of that. And I think that was down in 15th, 16th, 17th place. So battles everywhere. That's the great thing about these cars. They're so very closely matched. There is a bop issue between them all in that the AMG has got legs over the Audi has got better acceleration, the BM has got better brakes. Beer was talking to about us last week, and even if that evaluation is slightly wrong, the fact of the matter is that each one of these cars has got something just slightly better than the others, but it all balances out, and this is how you get really great racing in the mid pack.
Yeah, and then you get some track specifics, don't you? Tracks with less technical corners where sometimes maybe the AMG has the advantage. Other tracks which require a lot more stability where the BMW will just hold steady. So it becomes really dependent. And then, of course, the other thing is that lump of flesh that's behind the steering wheel.
Yeah, absolutely. We're human beings. You know, we're sim racers, human beings. We make mistakes. We're flawed. Our middle names aren't Intel. Matty, please don't do that to me. We're with Matto at the minute in 16th place, chasing down Cos. Let's have a quick. We didn't get a chance to get into tell everyone about the sort of lap times that people are putting out there. You know, Martin Peterman is out there with the fastest lap so far with a 1:17.766. 1:17.7, down to the slowest best lap out there at the minute, which is a 1:22.694. To put that into context with Martin out in the front there, you know, CSAM's best lap is a 1:18.346. So essentially, Peterman is half a second quicker at the best of times than CSAM around here, which makes that even harder for CSAM to claw back that time, now extending out to, you know, 5.96 seconds.
Yeah, and it's like you see when you run down the best laps here, also to see Vizar, who'd put in some really fast laps earlier, and he was under extreme pressure by Rick Binnersley earlier in the race there, seemed to either miss his braking point or was gracious in giving too much space, ran wide, and Rick sliced through. And I think maybe Vizar's now just trying to collect himself for this final charge.
Yeah, absolutely, and just getting past a back marker there, and just gives him a little nudge. But you know, actually was whoever that back marker is, you know, actually done a pretty fine job of staying out of the way as he loses traction. I think that's someone less experienced with these cars, perhaps, but thankfully it didn't upset Vizar too much. I think it slowed him down coming out of that left-hander. But yes, I completely agree with your evaluation of Vizar. He's had some great battles out there tonight. Really, really good. Wow, there we go. Crikey. 20 cars left of the battle out there at the minute. Vizar now chasing down Marco. Both of these guys in the BMW M4. The BMW M4 and the Redbull livery. Certainly got the edge and speed Vizar on Marco there as they come into the keyhole, and he just takes him on the inside, I think. Has he just got it? I think he just got him there. Yeah, it just gives him a little tat, and of course he's got the DRS. So Vizar up into 7th place takes Marco as they come down the back straight down towards T4.
Yeah, just thinking about some of the moves that have been made here, it's just great out-braking manoeuvres, but so difficult to hold that line when you've lost all the traction and you've pushed it to the absolute limit. I've been really interested in some of the tactics using the DRS down this back straight, some positioning the cars on the left, looking to be not defensive and then just really taking a really late braking point. So everyone's got a different technique to take advantage of it down the back straight. It's fascinating.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, I couldn't agree more. The guy that we're looking at there, Helmet, he's had a couple of battles and a couple of offs tonight, and he's now up into 9th place. Testament of his speed and sim ability. Simability? Simability? Is there such a word as sim? There is now. There is. We've just invented it. His simability. Look, he's a talented sim racer, and he's now up into 9th place. You know, Marco there has pulled out. Fair sort of gap on Helmet there, but Helmet seems to close it up. Perhaps he knows the track a little bit better. But Helmet, good to see Helmet up there in 9th place. Taking nothing away from Marco, of course. I know he'll be very happy with his current position, which is great stuff. 8th place for Marco.
A great rhythm from Helmet here, just really persistently driving. I think that's one of the things we always say about racing. You have a situation that happens early in the race, but you just never give up. You just don't know what's around the corner. Keep pushing, concentrate on your race, and I think Helmet's a great example of that. He's just got his head down.
Yeah. Bainster with 1 minute and 53 seconds left. I'm sorry to have to do this to you, but you know, if you had to sort of pick one person out that we've seen on the stream tonight, we've tried to give everyone some coverage, particularly with the battles, their racecraft. Who stands out for you, do you think? I mean, just name a few, and I'll put the camera on.
Obviously, you can't deny Martin's skill out front there. I mean, his pace, his consistency. He was heavily under pressure for the first half of this race, and he was able to just keep his head. So, I mean, really, he's an exemplar of the greatest racing I think we've seen tonight. But really, Rick Binnersley, what great moves he's been making, pressure he's been applying as he's worked his way up the tough end of the field, if you like. So I think that'd be my two standout drivers.
No, I couldn't agree more. And with that, I think we should go with Rick Binnersley. We've got a minute left on the stream. Come on. By the time you post something in there, there'll be 20 seconds left. Do you agree with us? Rick Binnersley is who we want to speak to after this, if we can get him after the Chinese attack on the Amazon cloud servers, or Russia or aliens or whoever. But we're now hopefully all back in Discord. Hopefully we should be able to have a chat with him. I couldn't agree more. He had some really great battles there, didn't he? Fantastic. And that's what we're going to focus on. Would you mind interviewing him afterwards?
Of course.
Good man. Well done, Rick Binnersley. Great racing. Great racing by everybody. Really, really great examples. And the battles that you're seeing here, the close racing that you're seeing here, is not for position at the minute. It's back marker stuff. These guys have now all evened themselves out, basically. Most of them have got space in between the position with only 10 seconds left to go. Martin Peterman essentially coming down towards, well, where are we? Let's have a look. We're at the end of the back straight, aren't we? We're coming into T4 here. So into T4, there's a lovely offset camber, and then up this sweeping left-hander, again, negative camber, the apex on the crest. Really, as I said, if you can master this track, you get such a sense of achievement of being able to master it. And if you want to challenge everybody, here's the challenge. Go out and get an M1 Pro car and go around here in a Pro car. And then after a while, when you've sussed it and when you've managed to get your lines right, you'll have such a huge sense of achievement. So that's my challenge to you. M1 Pro car, Mid-Ohio. Enjoy. Martin Peterman then crosses the line and wins in first place. Well done, Martin. That's your second event in first place. Well done to CSAM. Brilliant racing earlier on, as I'm sure you'll all agree. The good thing about this race director is I can put it onto auto director now, and it'll try and hopefully now capture everybody in their right positions as they cross the line. Brilliant racing between Martin Peterman and CSAM. Really enjoyable. I tried to capture as best as we could when we were offline there, voice-wise, a bit of sort of situational awareness of what was going on. But you know what? As you said earlier on, they're exemplars of the highest levels of sim racing, the pair of them. So, Rick Binnersley for me is still our champions, our people's champion. Why hasn't somebody put in YouTube chat that they agree with that? Come on, YouTube chat. Get a grip of yourselves.
I have a comment in the chat from a friend of mine who knows I own an AMG and is claiming that I should have been biased towards the AMG, which of course is not the role of a commentator.
Absolutely. We are completely unbiased. We have special magical powers to be able to make somebody's day or make them go into a wall. That's our ability. There you go then. Martin Peterman, CSAM, and Dirk Gretschel. First, second, and third. People's champion, Rick Binnersley. Brilliant. There you go. That was a really great, notwithstanding our little technical error there. Well, you know what? If someone else was streaming from a different club, they would have had the same problem, I think. I don't think it's worth us looking at a contingency plan, a business continuity plan, in order to bring it to you. No. We'll accept the risk and tolerate it. These things happen. That was really great. I thoroughly enjoyed that for what we did do. I think the gap in the middle there, Beanster, was good for my heart rate.
Well, I just thought it was a very elaborate initialization ceremony for me.
Oh, brilliant. It seems I've lost connection to the server. I'm not sure whether we're still streaming. Are we? Are we still streaming?
Yes, I've got a stream up.
Wonderful. Right. Okay. Well, let's see now. Rick, where are you? Are you in the... Oh, there he is. He is. I'm going to see whether I can drag him in. Rick, are you with us?
Well,
I've hijacked you. I've literally bopped you over the head with a kosh, thrown you into the boot, zipped you down the road, debussed you, and you're now in the commentary room as the people's champion for that race. Over to Beanster. Please have a chat with Rick about his racing tonight.
Rick, just providing support for the commentary this evening. It's been fascinating watching a great race, and I just really thought you had a stellar race. But it was a rhythm thing I could see. It was like you qualified high up, and then it seemed there was this kind of mid-pack battle. When you're happy with the result, it looked like you had a really strong finish towards the race.
Yeah, because I wasn't going to race a race. I literally just jumped on sort of 20 minutes before the race started. So, yeah, I can't really grumble at that. I don't normally finish that well when I've practiced and stuff.
Okay. So normally you're putting a bit more lap times, and then tonight you just jumped in at the last minute. Well, even more so. My instinct told me right that you had a stellar race. In the race, I felt like you were just getting quicker and quicker. Did you feel the same way in the car?
Yeah, I got a little bit of damage maybe about 10 minutes in, which slowed me down a little bit, but sort of built on my pace throughout the race. But I had some really good battles with Gabsy in the first half, and then in the second half, it was a real good fun actually.
It would look. I mean, it was a really, really great race. Everyone was really pushing each other hard. Do you had some areas of the track where you felt you had confidence in yourself? There were some turns that you were kind of picking out that you had the chance to make the passing moves.
Not really, just at the end of the straight, and it wasn't really gaining too much time on the speed difference sort of thing. But I was slightly quicker through the slower corners.
How effective was the DRS in this race then, from your view?
Not a great deal for me. I mean, like on the first half of the race when Gabsy was behind me, I knew if I'd got onto the straight half a second in front of him, then no chance that he would be able to get past. So
and a lot of defensive driving. I could see that all the way through the pack, especially at the end of that. I mean, everyone's putting themselves either center or on the apex side of a corner. It's just great. I guess you had to play that move a few times.
Yeah, I did quite a few times actually, but it's all good fun though. It makes for good racing and an enjoyable night.
Well, I thought it was fantastic. Thanks very much, Rick. Well done.
Thank you.
Absolutely. I echo that. It was really great. And Rick, I'm sure you'll watch the stream back. I know you record your own stream, etc. There was a gap in the middle there where we were less connection to Discord, but your battles were all caught of several camera views. So do watch that back later on and enjoy watching yourself at one of your best that I've seen. To be honest, I've probably seen you race more than you have. I've probably watched you more than you have watched yourself. So, for me personally, what I've seen tonight is a lot of hours, a lot of effort, a lot of commitment, a lot of sort of self-investment in sim racing, in getting better and better and better. And you finished tonight where you deserve to finish, which is in the top quadrant of an RWB race. Very well done, mate. Really, really great stuff.
Thanks very much.
And you can make a donation whenever you like to
I'll email you my bank account.
There we go. That was the end of round 2, wasn't it, at Mid Ohio? So we had our first race we had at Nürburgring. Round 2 we had at Mid Ohio. Where is round 3? Well, I'll tell you, round 3 is at Zandvoort. Which will be next Friday, normal time, 9:30, 20 minutes qualifying. We'll join you 10 minutes left remaining of qualifying, and then we'll follow the race all the way round, all the way through. And that is next Friday. What have we got from now till then? Well, of course, we've got Tuesday. We've got an event on Tuesday. Tuesdays, come along, a free open lobby. We've got a GT4 league starting soon. There's a server. It's open to place yourself in the right tier. You go along, you do a hot stint of 5 laps. That goes on the lap leaderboard, and that then places you in a tier. You've got until the 22nd of July. If you want to be part of RWB's GT4 League, get along to our website, rwbracing.club. Click on the Discord link, come on in, and it's very self-explanatory. And if you get lost because there's 150 million channels, then just look for somebody in a voice channel with an RWB tag and ask them. If you're not an RWB member, they'll steer you towards the right sort of place to get the information and get on there. There's still places left. Come on, let's have a great, multi-tiered league in the GT4 cars of ACC. There we go. Beanster, thank you very much for joining me tonight. You've been really great, mate, notwithstanding the gap in the middle, and I have no doubt that we'll be hearing more of you going forward.
My pleasure. I really enjoyed it. Thanks for having me.
No, you're welcome. Thanks very much, everyone. Join us the next time, RWB, for the next stream. Of course, we've got AMS2 tomorrow as a one-off. I don't think that's being streamed, and I don't think it is, but undoubtedly going forward, keep your eyes open for AMS2. It's gonna hit the sim community hard, I think. So never is a best time to be in sim racing. Updates all over the place, DLCs, and of course the awareness of the community of sim racing has gone through the roof during this very difficult time of COVID-19. Thanks very much, everyone. Join us next time. You know what we say, don't race alone, race RWB. Till next time then, bye-bye.